African human rights treaties say everybody has a right to life, everybody has the right to freedom of expression, and all these other fundamental human rights that our community has, but which are consistently violated. A serious problem we have on the continent is violence that is meted against LGBTQ persons, which takes various forms, and really it's highlighting and documenting these violations and escalating them to various levels that they must be addressed. My work involves a lot of advocacy, both at national, sub-regional and regional level, but I also do work at the international level. So in South Africa, working very closely with our local partner and other stakeholders, we do advocacy to advance the rights of LGBTQ persons and also try to influence some of the legislation around these issues. Since 2019, we've been working on a project around conversion practices, or so-called conversion therapy, where we worked very closely with partners, Tears in Nigeria, galck Plus in Kenya, and Access Chapter 2 in South Africa, where we sought to understand the nature, extent, and impact of conversion practices. This research was preceded by a global research study, which Outright did, where it looked at conversion practices globally, how they manifest, and so then we went deeper to work closely with partners to look at more localized information on this. Our reports, our partners' reports, have clearly shown that these practices have a really negative impact, but not only our research says that, it's also experts, UN experts at various levels who have said some of these practices amount to torture. Some of these practices have severely negative impact on the right to health and enjoyment of other fundamental rights. Partners have really taken the lead in formulating strategies of engaging, for example, with religious and traditional leaders, mental health practitioners, academia, and a host of stakeholders to say, how do we address these conversion practices? Because they are happening, and not only are they happening, they are very severely negatively impacting people's lives. And this impact is long-lasting, not only on physical health, but also on mental health of LGBTQ persons. So that strong recommendations produced by partners on what states can do to combat these practices, what various stakeholders, which I've also touched on, what anyone can do to curb these practices, because everyone has a role to play in eradicating conversion practices, not only in Africa, but all over the world. There are many of us. We're here. There are organizations, sometimes within countries, to really try to plug in and to work together. And even for organizations and LGBTQ human rights defenders to really stand with each other, to hold each other, and to be there for each other in these times, and to strengthen each other and to amplify each other's voices. Because as a movement, sometimes all we have is each other. To be isolated is even harder, because that's when these problems even manifest more, and that's when we're even more vulnerable. So to make sure that we're not isolated, we're not alone, we're plugged into the movement, and we work together to move forward.